Hokusai's a delight this event. I really enjoyed her. Okay, chat. Chat. Someday when I'm doing this, I'll be blown up when I have a better webcam, but I don't. Because I've had a chance to actually sit and stew on this. What's up with Append skills? Like, are these going to be a nice thing for the game and all that? And I've thought and thought and thought. And I really do feel like, and definitely let me know if you agree with this or not, chat. I really do feel like Append skills have been implemented very poorly. And overall don't feel like a very good investment for the casual player. Am I right here? Am I hitting on something y'all agree with? But you unlock these with those servant coins. Servant coins are that new currency you get through, like, bonding up with your servant and also through getting multiple copies of the same servant. So I guess they're kind of locked behind bond. You actually have to sync stuff in a bond. Anyways, all the Append skills, the first two are exactly the same for everybody. The first one's increase extra attack performance by 30 to 50%. That's damage, that's stars generated, that's NP gained. Okay? The second skill is probably the best one. It's called mana loading, and it lets your servant start with a 10 to 20% NP gauge right out the gate. Other than that, the third skill is weird. It's either an attack damage aptitude or it is a critical attack chance resistance. So you get critical attack chance resistance, or you end up getting to deal extra damage to a specific class of servant. Now, you would think that this is just straight up, oh, they're going to deal extra damage against the thing that they're weak against, right? Not true. Not true in the slightest. It's all completely and utterly based on lore, chat. The third skills are all completely and utterly based on lore. So, like, say, for example, servants that get to deal extra damage against Saber class enemies. Not a single one of those servants is an archer. Not a single character who gets a 20 to 30% bonus to damage against sabers is an archer. X does, which is great. But yeah, there are some very, very bad instances of that. Like characters of the same class, Mikon just pointed out Alter Ego Melt getting 20% damage bonus against Lancers, which is just completely and utterly worthless. But then you also end up getting servants with, like, anti-Berserker attack damage aptitude, which this is probably the best one. You get servants like Enkidu and Merlin and Watanabe no Suna and Holmes and Mysterious Foreigner Idol and Hokusai and all them. Those are super cool. Those are super cool. Those are the instances where it's good. But other than that, for the vast majority of characters in Fate Grand Order, this third bonus does not end up being worth it. It really doesn't. And on top of that, the way you've got to unlock them and level them is strange. So you would think, of course, I can go ahead and unlock these with these extra servant coins I'm getting. Once you unlock them with the servant coins, you have to then level them like you would any other skill. So QP and materials. So now you've got another QP sync and another material sync for all of these characters. And to add a cherry to the top of the sundae, level 10 for each of these skills is a crystallized lore. This whole system, I feel, in the way it's been implemented, just seems like an artificial way to keep people playing the game for longer. It's like, oh, you've ended up hitting your character to the absolute best thing they could possibly be. Here's 3 more things you can level now, and if you don't level all 3 of these things, regardless of how inconsequential they are, your character is no longer as good as they could be in the game. I do see people saying in the chat that a lot of people are saying just leveled the second skill, and that's really the only one you gotta worry about. I would agree in the vast majority of circumstances. Some other servants like Enkidu and Stheno getting a damage bonus, those are servants you're going to need to worry about, but for the vast majority of servants, that is completely and utterly correct. And this isn't even taking into account 120 Grails, which are a whole other bag that I'm not going to get into. But I was excited for Append skills when they were first announced and before I started getting all this information about them, because I thought it was like such a cool new thing to do in the game. You could like give all your servants these extra passive attack bonuses and build even more specialized teams and like make Bond 10 feel a lot more rewarding when you finally got to it. But none of those things have turned out to be true as a result of Append skills. Now, if I had ended up implementing Append skills, this is probably the system I would have come up with. And this is from a man that has played a ton of other gacha games and was just rolling this around in his head all day. Like, man, if I could have been the person that did Append skills, what's the way I could do it that could make players feel like they had something to work towards, and ended up making it feel more rewarding. So if I had the reins on Append skills, this is what I would have done. So once you have a servant reach Bond 10, you get, and now you've got to get your first servant to Bond 10 for this feature to start unlocking. So if you don't have a Bond 10 servant yet, this is kind of a reward for sticking with a servant for a long time. Once you get your first servant to a Bond 10, you get an Append unlocker, kind of like the card unlockers for command codes. And then the second you use that on a servant's skill, that unlocks that skill at one rank. There's just one rank. It does what it does, but you get to unlock that skill and add it to your servant's repertoire. But wait, there is more that makes this a more exciting prospect for players. You don't just get one Append unlocker getting a servant to Bond 10. You would get 4. So that is 3 to immediately unlock all of these servant skills, and then 1 to unlock another character's skill, which then incentivizes the player to be like, oh man, I unlocked this one character's Append skill, but now I need to get the other 2, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to Bond 10 this character, and then I'm going to get 4 more Append unlockers. So now I've unlocked all of this other character's Append skills, and they're completely set, but now I've got yet another Append key, so I've got to like go ahead and sync that into another servant and get a head start on them, and then I can start going forward to Bond 10 them. A system like this would create an environment where it would make players actually super excited to Bond 10 servants, regardless of how personally attached to them they were. And this would make it so even if these skills aren't super consequential, like they clearly are from what I've been seeing looking at all of these skills, it's still fun. It's still a fun little addition to make all of your characters stronger, to incentivize building different teams, pulling different servants into your back line for more than just a craft essence that you are likely not going to use. Let me know, gang. Let me know what you would think. This cat needs to leave this room, so I'm going to help him in his endeavors, and I will be right back.